Have you ever wanted to be a king? To build your castle up tall and true? To command an army and lead them into battle? Men who would worship you and die for you at a word. Well, now you can with Thronefall. It's an awesome little tower defense game made by Grizzly Games. This little indie team is made up of Jonas Tyroller, known for You Snail, and Schnepf, known for The Ramp. What's up guys, if you're new here, I'm Void, and I like to highlight new indie games I find every week, and I am talking like a robot. Oh my goodness, what's happening to me? If you can't tell, I am very happy about this one. I've been playing it a bunch, I love it, so let's get into it. Thronefall is a medieval tower defense game with an appealing minimalist art style. It's easy to pick up and has a fun and engaging gameplay loop that challenges your decision making. It punishes your mistakes and rewards your ability to think ahead. You play as a king, where you build up your defenses during the day in preparation for waves of enemies that attack at night. Each successful battle will yield you coins based on a point system determined by how well you fend off attackers and how many economy boosting buildings survive. If your castle is destroyed, however, then you lose the game and hand over your crown. And likely your head. There is more packed into this cute little game than I first expected, from enemy and infantry types to loadouts, perks, playstyles, and achievements to strive for that present plenty of reasons to try a different approach and replay levels. But balance is key, as you strategize to manage all these things in your little empire correctly. And it all makes this game beautifully simple and addictingly engaging. The game is available on PC and has full controller support, so if you'd rather play that way, and it's only $7. That's right, you heard me, $7. It's so polished, so well made, and all the reviews for it has been overwhelmingly positive. Pretty fantastic. Currently, there are 4 locations to conquer in your royal conquest, each set in different biomes. There's a mountainous pasture, a cozy forest, a sun-beaten desert, and a frozen port that is very reminiscent for me of a certain port from a certain scene from a show that's also about thrones. If you've already hung your sigil in all 4 locations and you feel the game is too short, then I've got good news for you. The devs plan to keep adding more challenging areas over time. And if you feel like you've stormed through the main campaign too easily, oh, don't worry. They've included something that will put even the most die-hard completionists out there to the test. But we'll get to that in a second. So much about this game is welcoming and fun. In fact, it was specifically designed that way. The devs made the game intentionally for those who might not have a lot of time to sink into gaming. But make no mistake, it's a hard game to put down once you get that taste of victory. The color palette and lighting are also indie game eye candy, and the simplistic settings pop in a beautiful way, especially at night. I mean, just look at this. Mwah. These visuals and the distant isometric view are all clear markings of a Schnepf game. The sound design is also stellar. I mean, the music, oh goodness, just listen. I mean, this game did not have to go this hard. But if you know Jonas, you know his games, you know he puts a lot of work into the soundtrack, and they are always bangers. As cute and little as this game presents itself to be, I found that it has a lot to give and isn't afraid to crush the player for poor planning. The more you play the game, the more layers unfold, creating the perfect learning experience for players. The first level is a masterclass in tutorials, and before long, the game hands you the keys to the castle. Concepts are introduced over time, and there is a nice amount of depth here that cultivates a ripe environment for different playstyles and playthroughs. So let's start with your character. Okay boys, listen to me. Tonight, I want you all to be courageous. You will be here. Yes, I know, outside the walls, don't be nervous. Franklin, I know it's your first time. The king's role in Thronefall is a very active one. You won't simply be sitting behind your walls barking out orders, though nothing is stopping you from living that luxurious life once you have the coin. Until that point, you have to earn your army. As the king, you are expected to use your own unique abilities to defend your domain. When you start a new session in a location, you first choose a loadout. Here you decide what kind of experience you want to have and what kind of king you want to be. The king has 3 different weapons you can choose to start with, each with their own passive and active abilities. Secondly, you choose a perk, and this can have a local or global effect on the game, such as giving you specific buildings or your economy a buff. Just pay attention to certain debuffs that might be included. Understanding these 2 options and what strategy you plan for can massively improve your success rate if you stack the right combinations together. And what also helps is knowing your enemy. Oh my god. I was surprised by the amount of enemy types there are in this game. There are some, be it few, fantasy elements embraced in the game. If you thought you would only be dealing with foot soldiers and trebuchets, you would be mistaken. You will have to handle land, vehicle, air, and some fantasy type threats, all with their own objective. Some target the nearest object, others go straight for you or your castle or your resources, etc. Along with economy buildings, enemies will also drop coins for you. There are helpful indicators that show where, what type, and how many enemies will be spawning next round. But there are plenty of resources available to you to withstand these attacks, whether you're looking to protect yourself or deal some damage. As far as base building goes, you have a lot of neat options, and in this game, the best offense is a good defense. As the king, you also get to decide what kind of stronghold you are going to build and what kind of army you are going to deploy. To me, this is where the game truly shines. The amount of control given to the player that has a real outcome on the game, coupled with the responsibility of balancing decisions, and sometimes you don't know if you made the right ones until the heat of battle, or when the game slides you a really easy night where no one gets anywhere close to your castle and you feel completely impenetrable, only to be completely hammered the following night. He knew what he was doing. If you're not familiar with Jonas Games, he has a little bit of a what should I say? Inclination for punishment? Far too easy. Oh, I'm so glad we upgraded all those coin things. Oh, that economy. Oh my gosh! Jonas! Jonas, what is this? As you can see by that clip, I was not ready at all for this sucker punch and immediately regretted my spending the previous 2 days because I did not have enough to save up for what an onslaught I had to face here. But the game is linear, so the waves of enemies remain the same. So if you get overrun, you can restart the mission and formulate a different strategy next time. Whether you're building a barracks for more infantry, farms or houses for more revenue, or walls and towers for better defense, each building can be upgraded further. This will increase the base stats and introduce new perks to that specific building, the effects of which can have a local or global impact, just like the loadout system at the start. Special buildings like your castle and towers have final forms that further introduce new perks and refine their purpose, but it will cost you. Now that you have an army, you can actually do some really cool things with them. You can call them and rally them around you and decide to move them and actually plant them, and there's a difference. So when you move units, they'll just patrol that area, and as soon as someone enters that area, they will start attacking them. But if you plant them by holding control longer than a second, they will be planted there and they will not move. So only really do this with ranged units, in my opinion, because otherwise you're just gonna have infantry standing there as enemies pass by, and I learned this the hard way. Once you feel like you've mastered being a king and you truly want your valor to be tested, this is where Thronefall takes it up a notch. Remember when I stated before that this game has something for the die-hard completionists? Well, this is where quests come into the picture. That's right, this game even has quests for you to complete. They work in conjunction with the loadout system, especially the third and final option we didn't talk about yet, Mutators. Mutators will make the game harder in exchange for XP for the player. They can change enemy health, attack, coins dropped, and more. In order to complete quests, all you need to do is beat the level with the requisite loadouts listed. How hard could it be? It's basically the devs saying, "Oh, so you thought my game was too easy now, did you?" Then proceeding to tie one of our hands behind our back and going Night King mode on us. If you're feeling really brave, you can check off multiple quests in one go by meeting all of their requirements at once. This is really fun and will force you to change your strategy and maybe pee your pants a little when you suddenly realize you don't have enough coin to make your usual purchases. Recently in a video, Jonas actually dropped on the day of the release of the game. He gave us actually some helpful tips that you would want to hear. So if you hold the Alt key, you can actually see all the possible buildings you can build with your current castle level, and Tab is the button to toggle your sprint. That way, if you're tired of holding sprint and running all over the place, and I found that to be super helpful. And that actually makes holding control not as awkward when you're trying to scoop up units, so it's a big help there. Also in the settings, there is an option to reset units every morning, and you can toggle this on or off. So if you don't want them to go back to their spawn locations in the morning, just go into settings and uncheck this. If not, they will stay where you decided to put them. This is a game that knows what it is and does it very well. It has a perfectly scalable model that gives it so much potential going forward with more content as well. So what does the future of Thronefall look like? There is a FAQ that they just released, just updated, and we're going to take a look at some things that I thought were pretty important here. Let's get into it. So will there be an endless mode? A careful yes. At the current stage, we can't make any promises, but it has been one of the most requested features. We love the idea and feel it would make a great addition to the game. We are fairly confident that it's something we could manage within our limited resources as a 2-people dev team. But there is still some research left to do. Please be a little patient. We'll do some experimentation and see what we can make work. And you just love to see this kind of responsiveness and energy coming from these guys. It really has been awesome success they've been dealing with. And they've also been swamped. And the fact that they've been able to push out a FAQ, update this quickly, is great. It's indie developer 101 all over the place with this game, and I'm loving it. Another largely requested feature I saw in this community as well was, will there be a multiplayer or co-op mode? And they just flat out have a no here. Before they were considering it, I think it was a very small possibility. But they say here, while we agree that this would be really fun, being just 2 people, our time and resources are unfortunately very limited. Anything multiplayer, even if it's just, quote-unquote just, I know, local, is extremely time intensive from a development perspective, and we don't want to release anything half-baked. Awesome. Love the integrity and honesty. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that the mode won't be in it for people who are looking for it, but I don't think the game is really designed for that. This is also something I thought was very interesting and something I pulled in my top 3 ideas for community ideas for my other video that's linked below, so check that out. They just say no and they break my heart. Oh, it's fine, everything's fine. Level editor, definitely not. Wave editor, most likely not. We know that these can sound straightforward to implement. They would eat up most of our time, and we feel like there are more important things for us to work on right now. Remember that this would also require some way of sharing creations, etc. And that's probably really the main thing here, like with Halo. There's a file sharing system. Well, there used to be, not so much anymore, which is something we are not quite equipped to do with the resources we have available at the moment. So essentially, if that were to ever come, this would be from them making so much success from the game that they have enough money to pay someone else to do it, or they have enough time and energy and willpower to figure it out themselves. Will there be mod support? As we have to say no to a lot of our requests, we would love to at least provide you with the ability to make some of it happen yourself. Note that we need to conduct some further research before we can confirm or promise any specifics though. So that's really cool. That's really awesome. They're working within their skill set and they're still, you know, giving their players something. It seems like they're going to be working towards having mod support. So that's fantastic. Will there be more content? Yes, of course. Balancing. Jonas did stress this in multiple videos I saw. Besides balancing and bug fixes, oh my goodness, that is our #1 priority for now. More content is on its way. Super exciting, super cool. Those just seem to be the most important updates from the FAQ to me, and I wanted to make sure you guys got to hear that as well. But guys, that about does it for this week's indie game spotlight. If you liked this video, feel free to like it and check out the description for links below. But now this next video is for devs' eyes only. And if you guys want to see my gameplay, I had a lot of fun trying this game out for the first time. If you're in the mood to find a new game, come check out my channel and check out my indie game spotlight playlist. I'm sure there's going to be something you've never seen before hiding in there, so feel free to check that out. And until next time, guys, We'll see you in the next one.